I'd like to present to you an experience about how emotional intelligence not only can improve patients' happiness, but it can also improve their health status and quality of life. I want to present the emotional thinking method, which I have created and I've used in training patients in several cities of Spain, Portugal, and also in Latin America, in Peru. Happiness and cancer, is it possible? Yes, of course. First of all, cancer is equal to life. Cancer is life because when you have got a cancer, you are alive. And when you die, you haven't got any cancer at all. So cancer is life. Moreover, when you suffer a cancer, you have all your life ahead, as nobody, not even children, knows when they will die. So, cancer is life. Cancer is no more death. Consequently, when you have a cancer, you must enjoy your own life, and people around must be conscious that you aren't an ill person, but you, a person with a disease, and therefore a person who wants to have a pleasant life, although they had to receive treatment sometimes. Treatment sometimes is not anything more, but you are a person, you are not a patient. The method I am presenting to you is based on the emotional intelligence, a movement created in the field of psychology by Salloway and Meyer in the USA in 1990, and was developed and spread by Daniel Goleman in 1995. And it also has roots in positive psychology developed by Martin Seligman in 2000. This method intends to increase the happiness status and improve patients' health. In this sense, according to the past research in neuroimmunology, several scientific evidence determine that there is a close relationship between our thinking, our mood, and our immune system. Therefore, if patients feel happy, they have a bigger probability of raising their defenses against illnesses. In consequence, they have a faster recovery and develop antigens that prevent them from other diseases such as a new cancer. So, the emotional thinking method develops 7 emotional skills. The first 4 are related to yourself, and the last 3 to your relationship with others. Among these skills related to oneself, you will find self-knowledge, self-esteem, emotional control, and motivation. And among the skills related to others, you will find others' knowledge, empathy, and leadership. Now, I am presenting to you some of the most common exercises I propose in my talks about emotional thinking method with patients and caregivers. Sometimes the photos don't correspond to the exercise I am explaining next. Introduction. First of all, I ask people attending the talk to stand up if they consider themselves to be unique. As everyone thinks they are unique, then everybody stands up. Second, I help them to consider that independently of how old they are, they have all life ahead. So, they must consider fulfilling it with interesting experiences and projects for long, even if they suffer a cancer, or they are 80 or more years old. Third, I help them to consider that cancer is life, and cancer won't be death, because you only suffer a cancer when you live, and if you die, the cancer won't exist anymore. Fourth, in order to demonstrate that all of us are unique, we must have swing. We must be flexible as a swing dancer. That's why I ask all of them to move their bodies and as if they were dancing. Fifth, the only way to be unique person, to be a flexible one, to be extraordinary people is with others. So I ask them to hold hands and make a big human chain. And sixth, I choose one person in front of me and I ask him or her directly, do you know that you have just changed the world itself? The most of the times that person looks at me extremely surprised, and then I ask him or her again, you have changed the world. In the end, I said, well, if you belong to this world and you have changed because you were sitting before and now you are standing, you have changed yourself, haven't you? And if you have changed yourself and you belong to this world, a little part of the world have changed, the little part that you are. As a result, you have changed the world itself. You, only you. Once the people attending have understood this important quote, I ask all of them to repeat loudly, I am here to change the world. This thought is highly definite for patients, since they can consider themselves not as people who are a burden for society, but a person who is able to do simple things every day, which can benefit themselves and the others, themselves and all the world around him. So, my method has 7 competencies. The first competence is to self-knowledge. In order to develop this competence, I propose 3 exercises. First, involves reflection, silence, and meditation. So I ask them to cover their eyes with the thumb and the middle finger and reflect for a minute for about how many good things they have got. How many things have you got? Then I propose some mindfulness exercises. So I ask them to be conscious of their present moment, to be conscious about their breath, their heartbeats, etc. And forget all other thoughts. In the end, I ask them to place their right hand closed with their thumb up, like it was a candle, and their left hand flat, like it was a plate, and reflect about yourself. The second competence is self-esteem. In this point, I begin asking, how much is your body worth? For how much money would you sell your little finger? They reflect that there is not enough money in the world to buy their whole body, as they don't want to sell any part of it. So they learn that if they have got a so worthy body, they must be happy and show it to others. After asking to extend their right arm and put their hand in a vertical position, as if it was a mirror, I asked to put a sad face. They realize that their mirror gives them back sadness. Then I asked to put on a happy face, and they realize that the mirror gives them back happiness. As Mahatma Gandhi said, life will return what you give to it. Life will return what you give to it. The 5 exercise. This is the happiest exercise. I ask them, how much are you worth in a range for 0 to 5? They must answer that they are 5, no more, no less, because every person is worth the maximum 5. For this purpose, they don't have value their behavior, but only the worth as a person. And me, how much am I worth? I ask them. I am 5 too. I have got a body 5, haven't I? I have got the same number of muscles as Cristiano Ronaldo, haven't I? So, if I got a 5 body, I say, do you have a 5 body too? Because you have got as many muscles, for instance, as Angelina Jolie, haven't you? Of course they agree. In the end of this exercise, I ask them to do 3 things as soon as I say 1, 2, 3. I've got a body 5. They have to swing their body, is the second, and in the end, all of them must clap bravely. Chulería workshop. Chulería is a Spanish word that means that you say to others something good or extraordinary about yourself. Your beauty, your strength, your skills, your wealth, etc. So, I ask them to tell the people around them fine words about themselves. People with a good self-esteem are used to boasting, but not shy people. People with a very low level of self-esteem. This is the reason why I ask them to say good things about themselves without offending others. For instance, you can say, I am a good singer, or I like to help people who need it. Third competence. The third is emotional control and has 2 parts. First part, body emotional control, breathing. We want to control our mind, we must control our body response. So, first of all, we must control our breathing. In that case, I propose the 4 times breathing exercise. First, you must inhale and count to 4. Then you must hold your breath for counting for 4. After that, you must exhale and count to 4 too. In the end, you must count to 4 before starting again. They must do this exercise 3 times at least. Relax. In this exercise, people must relax their muscles following one of the most common relaxing methods. I invite them to relax their body step by step, starting with their feet and finishing with their head. So, I say, After closing your eyes, relax your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your legs, your bottom, your sexual front parts, your belly, your back, your fingers, your hands, your forehands, your entire arms, your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your forehead. 5 minutes later, I ask them, activate your eyes, your mouth, your neck, your shoulders, your hands, your arms, your legs and feet, and your body trunk. Finally, open your eyes. Your back is another exercise I propose. Your back talks about your mood, your self-esteem, your emotions and your feelings. So, I ask them to straighten their spine and walk around the room with their head up. After that, they can see their own back. I ask all of them to make a circle, one in front of the other, so that everyone can touch up and down repeatedly with their index finger the spine of the person in front of them. In the end, I ask them to give a short message with their hands in the shoulder of the same person. Motivation. Motivation is the fourth competence. Researchers say that happiness has a close relationship with your project in life. Seligman calls it meaning. Happiness depends on whether your life has any meaning, something interesting to be done, something or someone to fight for. So, I propose them to plan their own project for the next 10 years, but taking into account that they have to work on it every day. To help them to make that plan, I recommend to fill a SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Consequently, they must make their plans according to their strengths, of course, but also according to the opportunities. Research shows that patients with long-term plans who responsibly are involved in interesting tasks live longer. But one very amusing exercise is about creativity. Everyone has their own idea about the world and thinks that has a solution for any kind of problem. Everyone has their own idea of how the world may change for better. Nevertheless, our Western society starts ruining our creativity from our childhood. To change their mind, I offer to do a creativity exercise. I ask people attending to form groups of 5 or 6 people, and next I ask them to make a human sculpture with their bodies. At the beginning, they feel that they are able to do anything, but 3 minutes later, they find an image that they reproduce with their bodies in a funny way. After considering the personal emotional skills, I go on speaking about skills referred to manage the other's emotions and feelings. So, we now consider the last three competencies. The competence fifth, others' knowledge. At this point, I suggest 2 ideas. Knowledge. Research in emotional intelligence says that people who know more about others have a wider emotional intelligence. So I ask participants to qualify my skill as a cook in a range from 0 to 5. Then I ask them my mark, and there is always a wide variety about them, although they don't know anything about me. I explain that they have done a prejudice, and that prejudice is common because when a person has no knowledge about something, every one of us sets it according to our previous ideas about something or similar to it. They learn that it's common to make prejudices about others, but they must increase the knowledge of them in order to judge accurately and not to go on doing prejudices. To that end, I recommend them to get a notebook to write the name of every around them, and every day to write down in it something positive about one of them every day, only one of them being different every day. Body communication. As Rizzolatti said, our communication is based on the function of our mirror neurons, and for this reason, the true communication is made through our emotions and feelings. So, our rational thoughts must be translated into emotional feelings if we want an accurate communication. It seems that emotional intelligence is very important to develop abilities to communicate to others. Consequently, body language is more important than speech language, and a communication is more trustworthy than our words. So I asked them to form couples. Then, one in front of the other, I asked them to cover their nose with their right hand and try to communicate only with their eyes. This is a very difficult task, but a very pleasant one for them. The sixth competence is empathy. First of all, I explained that Daniel Goleman describes three kinds of empathy: intellectual, emotional, and concerning empathy. I tell them to remember that they are people worth 5, and so others, even criminals, are people 5, although their behavior could be only 1 or 2. So, in order to develop their own empathy, I suggest 3 activities. The first one is to thank. I recommend thanking for everything they have: their health, their bodies, their family, their little wealth. So I ask them to say thanks to the people around them. Thanks, thanks, thanks. And be grateful every morning, every evening, to God or to nature. To congratulate is the second. Seligman and other researchers show that people who congratulate others are the happiest. So I recommend congratulating our friends, our relatives, our mates, even our boss when they get any success in their lives. And at this moment, I ask them to congratulate people around them. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. To compliment is the third. Spanish people usually compliment our women, but sometimes these compliments are nice to them. However, to compliment people is one of the strongest glue in human relationships. So, I recommend complimenting others as much as you can. We've just stated in Spain the 21st of May will be in the future the International Compliment Day. Nevertheless, compliments must have three characteristics. It must be nice for the other person, not only for you. It must be said when the other person appreciates it. And it must always be true, because if you lie or if you don't think this word is suitable to him, it could be an insult. Leadership is the seventh and the last one competence of my method, emotional thinking. The main aim of the emotional thinking method is to develop all emotional competencies that are added in the leadership. Many people say that they don't like to be a leader because they don't like being a boss. That's true. But everyone wants to be listened, to be understood, to be loved. This is leadership. First of all, leadership is the ability to lead our own life in the way we want. And then, the ability to be listened, to be understood, to be loved by others. To develop our leadership, we must develop first all the previous competencies shown in the emotional thinking method and offer trust to others. In this point, I explain that you ought to consider yourself as a coin. One coin has two faces. The main one is that with the face of the king, for instance, and represents me. The other face is the back face and represents the others. But as in the same way that if we want to enlarge the main face, we need to enlarge the back face. If we want to grow up, we should help others to grow up. That's to say, if you want to be a leader, you must think how to solve the problems of the people living with you at home, at work, at leisure time. Also, in patient associations. The more you help others, the more you help yourself. Research shows that volunteers are happier and greater than others. Going on the exercise, I asked them to form couples, to think about the other's needs and to talk how everyone could help them. Then, as a show of everyone's leadership, I asked them to inflate their little balloons and to throw them up in order not to let the balloon fall, since they represent their common illusion of living. In the end, I asked them to light their mates with the mobile phone lights, showing that the only way you can enjoy your light, your happiness, is lighting the others, and in this way you enjoy your light and the smiling face of your mate. At the end, love is love, and love is happiness. Conclusion. The emotional thinking method intends to develop happiness through the development of leadership. But leadership is the sum of all previous emotional competencies that are summarized in these two: self-esteem and empathy. Finally, as a conclusion of the talk, I asked them to do exercise more. So I asked them First, give themselves a your hug, and also kiss themselves. Second, give others a your hug. In all the lectures, talks, workshops to patients and caregivers have shown, that they need to learn emotional skills in order to cope with the disease and the financial and social difficulties they have to deal with. So, as a general conclusion, I recommend patient associations to develop programs on emotional intelligence or positive psychology, as I have just shown to you in this talk. Thanks, many thanks.